Hey folks, hope you're well wherever you are in the world today. This is just another video where I'm going to share an opinion about something. I woke up this morning, put the news on and heard a story which just absolutely horrified me, and it's about obesity here in Britain. Now, apparently the government, this wonderful government that we have here, has decided that they're suddenly going to give vast numbers of obese people free gastric band surgery on the National Health Service. Free surgery won't cost them a penny. It's just absolutely extraordinary. It basically means that the National Health Service is going to be spending about £12 billion of extra money that they don't have, because the health service is already 30 or 40 billion in deficit, to basically give massively overweight people surgery for something that is their own fault. Obesity isn't an illness or a disease. Obesity is a choice for the vast majority of people. Some people, yes, are obese because they have an illness or they have a problem which they can't overcome without help. Some people have problems with their thyroid, for instance, and that can lead to being overweight and obese. But for the vast majority of obese people, obesity is their choice. It's their fault. Everybody gets to choose what they eat and what they drink, and most of us get to choose how much movement we do with our bodies, how much physical exercise. If you choose to eat a diet of junk food and drink lots of alcohol, which is full of calories and stuff, and if you decide to sit on the sofa all day watching TV and playing video games and eating pizza and takeaways, you will be obese, and that's your fault. And I can say that from personal experience, because I've spent most of my life being obese. I started putting on weight when I was 9 years old, and it's only the last couple of years that I've started to eat healthily, exercise regularly, and I've lost a lot of weight. I was about 3 stone heavier than I am now, and I'm still working hard to lose weight. I'm a vegan. I follow the high-carb, low-fat lifestyle. I ride my bike, I run, I walk for several hours. I have an exercise bike, I have resistance bands, I'm doing all these things. But I know that I was obese because I chose to be obese, because I chose to live on pizza, chips, crisps, all manner of fatty food, lots of meat, dairy products. And I also never exercised. I'd get home from school, sit on the sofa and watch TV. So I can say obesity is choice, because when I chose to start moving my body and exercising, I've lost weight. I'm no longer classified as obese according to my BMI. So what the government is proposing to do is to spend all this money is just absolutely obscene. There are going to be 2 million obese people in this country who will now receive free surgery. Some people might say, that's none of our business. If you're not obese, it doesn't affect you. But of course, this money, this £12 billion that this is going to cost, we all pay that in the NHS. If you live in Britain, you pay for the NHS. It annoys me when people say that the NHS is free, for instance. The NHS is not free. Never has been free, never will be free. If you work at a job and you pay your taxes, you pay for the NHS. You pay for the NHS in national insurance contributions. Okay? So, first of all, the NHS is not free. So, if the government are suddenly going to allow 2 million fat people to have free surgery because they can't be bothered to get up off the sofa and stop eating pizza, it's going to cost us £12 billion. If you're watching this and you live in Britain, and you pay your taxes and you choose to live a fairly healthy lifestyle, you eat properly, you do a bit of exercise, and you're not obese, you're going to have to hand over more of your money, more of your hard-earned money, more of my hard-earned money that I work hard for. I'm going to lose from my pocket to pay my bills, to buy my food, to keep the roof over my head, because the government's decided that people who are too lazy to get up off the sofa and people who are too stupid to stop eating junk food are going to be given a free operation. They're basically saying, hey, don't worry about taking any responsibility for what you eat. Don't take any responsibility for your physical well-being. Just eat junk food, sit around in front of the TV, you know, be lazy, be stupid, eat rubbish. And when you become so fat that you get sick, we'll give you an operation. We'll give you a gastric band operation, and everyone else in the country who's fit and healthy and is intelligent enough and responsible enough to look after their health, they're going to have to hand over their money to pay for you. You'll get a free operation because you can't be bothered to put that slice of pizza down and go for a walk, but everyone else in the country who can be bothered to not eat the pizza and go for a walk, go for a run, go for a swim, they're going to have to pay for you. You know, it's ridiculous. I really don't know what's happening in Britain. We've become a country where people who work hard and pay their taxes are basically just being screwed, because, you know, if you get sick because you eat junk, people who work hard and pay their taxes, they've got to pay for you. You get it free, but I've got to pay for it. If you have lots of children and you haven't got enough money to pay for them, well, guess what? I've got to pay for your kids. This is modern Britain, and it's pathetic. This country is dying on its knees. It really is. I mean, you just take the obesity epidemic. More people die in Britain of obesity-related illness than in anywhere else in Europe. You know, we have an obesity epidemic in this country. More people die here of obesity-related illness, heart disease, diabetes, you know, than anywhere else in Europe. And the government's answer is, rather than tackling what causes obesity, which is junk food, you know, how about tackling the advertising companies that relentlessly ram junk food down your throat? You know, how about tackling McDonald's, who deliberately target, you know, their adverts at very small children? How about doing this kind of thing, rather than just saying, eat loads of junk food, get fat, and then the taxpayer will pick up the bill to fix your body because you can't be bothered. But no, of course, the government won't target McDonald's or Domino's or Pizza Hut, you know, because they're massive companies that earn lots of money, and no doubt government have got friends who own shares in the companies or are directors of companies or who know somebody who invests in these companies, you know. They should be tackling the companies that produce this shit food that we're shoveling down our throats. They should be tackling the supermarkets. Supermarkets should be forced to make fruit and vegetables cheaper. Make fruit and vegetables cheaper, make processed food more expensive. How about putting a tax on junk food? So put some extra money on the cost of junk food to discourage people buying junk food, and then use the money that is raised from that tax on junk food to then subsidise farmers who produce fruit and vegetables, therefore making fruit and vegetables cheaper. Make processed food more expensive with a tax, use the tax to subsidise farmers to make fruit and vegetables cheaper. You instantly create a situation where people don't want to buy so much processed food because it's expensive. but they do want to buy fruit and veg because it's cheaper. That would lead to better health. But no, the government basically says we're not going to try and educate anybody about food or exercise or get people off their backsides. We're just going to let people get fat because they're lazy and stupid, and then we're going to give them a free operation which will cost the taxpayers an absolute fortune. You know, I was looking this morning at some of the statistics and I've made some notes. 66% of deaths in Britain every year are caused by obesity. That's an astonishing statistic. Obesity kills more people in Britain than any drug or any other illness or any other disease. You know, cancer, HIV, none of those diseases and none of the other drugs, legal or illegal, kill more people than obesity. We spend a fortune trying to educate people about not taking drugs. We spend a fortune tackling cancer and educating people about cancer. We're constantly telling women, check your breasts for cancer, telling men, check your testicles for lumps. We spend a fortune educating people about illnesses and diseases and drugs that kill proportionately, in terms of the population, a small number of people. And yet when it comes to obesity, which is killing vast numbers of people in Britain, more than anywhere else in Europe, we're spending next to nothing educating people about obesity. The government is basically saying, watch TV all day, eat junk food. When you get so fat that you get sick, come and see your doctor and we'll give you a free operation. We'll tie a knot in your stomach so you can't eat so much. Bam, you're cured. That's a ridiculous way. We should be putting more money into education and prevention. If you prevent an illness, you prevent a disease, you prevent obesity, you don't have to spend all that money then tackling it later. This to me it seems like common sense, but the government don't seem to have any common sense, so I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. It just seems to me that Britain and British people no longer believe in any sort of self-responsibility. It's not my fault I'm fat, it's somebody else's. It's not my fault I've got lung cancer because I choose to smoke cigarettes. It's somebody else's fault. It's not my fault I'm unemployed, it's somebody else's fault. It's not my fault I can't pay for my children, it's somebody else's fault. And the problem is that when you create a culture of blame where you just think everything is somebody else's fault, you create a culture where people who aren't to blame are the people who have to pay for it. I'm going to have to lose more of my money in tax to pay for people, say the guy who lives next door who hasn't got a job. He hasn't got a job because he's obese, because he spends all day eating pizza and takeaway, sitting on the sofa. He hasn't got a job, so I'm paying his benefits from my hard-earned money. Because he hasn't got a job, I'm paying for the roof over his head because the benefits pay for his rent. And because he's obese, I'm now going to have to pay for him to have an operation. You know, and actually he could solve all those problems by putting the pizza down, not ordering the curry, not going to the Chinese takeaway twice a week, and just getting up off the sofa and moving his arse, you know? This is something I feel really strongly about because, as I said, on a personal level, I've spent a number of years being obese and it was my fault. I ate rubbish, didn't exercise. Now I've taken the blame for that and I've taken on responsibility. I'm eating healthily, I'm exercising, and I've lost 3 stone, just a little bit over 3 stone. I'm no longer obese. I chose not to be obese anymore. I choose to eat healthy food. I choose to exercise. Therefore, guess what? I'm losing weight and I'm not obese. So there you go. Some of those things I've said might be controversial. if you're obese, it's pretty much your fault. That's a pretty controversial statement. I understand, before anybody leaves any furious comments, I understand there are some people, and I know some of those people who are overweight, not because of their own fault, because they have a problem. They have a thyroid problem. They have a disability which means they can't exercise, perhaps. If you're someone maybe who's bedridden or in a wheelchair, I can understand that it would be very easy to become overweight because you can't exercise. I'm not talking about those people. So if you have a physical problem that means you put on weight even though you don't choose to, then I'm not talking about you when I say if you're obese it's your fault. I'm talking about the vast majority of obese people in this country who are obese because they choose to eat the wrong food and they choose to do no exercise. So there you go, that's my rant for today over. If you have any comments on my opinions, please leave them below or send me a message. Please click like if you like the video, and please subscribe to my channel. I make videos about so many different subjects, so if you subscribe and you select, when you subscribe, also click on the settings wheel next to the subscription button and tick the box that says, I think it says send email updates, which means every time I upload a video you'll get an email saying I've uploaded it. So yeah, please subscribe, and please select the email update so you get told, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care. I hope you have a good day, and if you are overweight and you are obese and you're upset about what I've said, just think about what I've said. Maybe put the junk food down, go for a walk this afternoon, because it will make you feel better, I guarantee it. Okay. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.